For those who missed the story, basically, we offered Stephen a term sheet for $50 million over the course of 4 years. I was willing to stay silent on all of this and not get into the weeds and not get into Stephen's personal conduct until the point when he personally recorded a phone call with my best friend, Jeremy Boring, and then proceeded to release that publicly. That is disgusting.
We did not even tape our private phone call. We can move on to the next topic. We don't have permission to air it.
Why the hell did you record them? What were you doing that for? Did you think you were going to go to court?
Fair point.
Did you think you were going to go to court? Because that's the only reason you record is when you...
Allegedly, Candace Owens had been taping all of our phone conversations that we had privately. As friends. Forever.
Because I now am more aware of certain information, rather than being angry, I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him.
The question that's on everyone's mind: who betrayed whom? Was this all just a misunderstanding of negotiation that got blown out of proportion? And what kind of information is Candace Owens alluding to having after her outburst the other day on her show? I've done the research, watched the interviews, and read the tweets. Let me walk you through my take on the situation, but first, a quick recap of the events so far.
The people I thought were fighting for you, a lot of it has been a big con. Now, to the others out there who have now been able to verify, have been locked into exploitative contracts that I have the luxury of not having to sign.
And the answer is yes, that offer did come from the Daily Wire. I'm not trying to hide that fact. I'm not ashamed of that fact. In fact, I think it's a very good offer.
Trying to pay for bacon and eggs right now at the grocery store, trying to buy a steak once a week, and you're over here crying because somebody couldn't meet you at $120 million. And it is crying. I don't like it. It was a total move.
This week, Stephen attacked Jeremy Boring and attacked the Daily Wire and suggested that if we had essentially offered him an enslavement contract.
They don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
Now that we're all caught up, let me share my thoughts on the situation and the reasoning behind them. However, I want to make it clear that I'm open to the possibility of being wrong. And if you disagree with me, please leave a comment below. I will most likely not be making another video on the topic unless something significant happens, but I'm still interested in your opinion. With that said, the short version is I believe Stephen is right. The long version is there is clearly an exploitative culture within these media organizations. This term sheet, in my opinion, is proof of this.
Lawyer taught me years ago. Said, don't worry if you hear somebody screaming on the other side, Bobby. He goes, only a stuck pig squeals. And the Daily Wire has been squealing loud.
And the answer is yes, that offer did come from the Daily Wire. I'm not trying to hide that fact. I'm not ashamed of that fact. In fact, I think it's a very good offer.
It's not a good offer, and there's a part at the end of the video where it's acknowledgement that he knowingly was lowballing it.
The real story is the Daily Wire's in bed with big tech, has a cancel culture clause in their contracts as what, according to Jeremy Boring, and is standardized. That's what upset and offended Crowder, and the Daily Wire and their simps are talking about anything but that. Don't misrepresent. Like, my favorite one was he took the contractual provision that required all the production costs be borne by Crowder, and he pretended it was a creative licensing provision. I was like, this is the most dishonest.
Well,
I was like, come on.
We know Crowder wants control of his show, so we just offloaded all of the costs of production onto him. That's perfect.
So, like, this is one of the things that I find really scummy.
This contract was a gatekeeper contract. That's what it was. If you were serious about making money, you never make the offer they made to Steven Crowder. I mean, I did the math for me. It was like, this isn't a $50 million contract. If Crowder got censored, he's going to end up owing the Daily Wire money so they can own his content for 6 years. I mean, that's how bad. This was literally the worst contract I have ever seen in my life.
It appeared that the Daily Wire was trying to underhandedly exploit Stephen by giving him a term sheet that appeared to offer a large sum of money, but in reality was a sort of golden handcuffs offer that would have left Stephen bearing all the risk in the event that something went wrong, while the Daily Wire would have reaped all the benefits in the event that things went better than expected. Let me break down for you how this $50 million term sheet was an offensively lowball offer. $50 million over the course of 4 years. That may sound like a lot of money, and it is, but let's do the math. It's estimated that Steven would bring 300,000 Mug Club subscriptions on day one. Now, let's assume that number doesn't increase at all over the next 4 years. At the sale price of $65 for a 1-year subscription, over the course of 4 years, that comes out to $78 million. And that's a lowball estimate, because the average Mug Club subscription is more like $100 per year. That would equate to $120 million over the course of 4 years, which explains Steven's counteroffer.
And you're over here crying because somebody couldn't meet you at $120 million. And it is crying. I don't like it. It was a total bitch move.
But just using the lower estimate, the Daily Wire would easily make back its $50 million contract with millions of dollars left over for profit.
Just bad if you're not using Tommy John. Tommy John underwear is the best underwear on planet Earth. It graces this incredible tuchus right this very instant. I need my coffee. I need my Black Rifle coffee. And it is very, very important to protect your online privacy with a VPN. This is why you should do what I do and use ExpressVPN.
Yes. Everybody knows the Daily Wire loves ad reads. So let's talk about those potential ad reads and take a closer look at the numbers. Typically, podcasters can earn $3,000 per ad read for 100,000 plays. Steven Crowder's episodes often receive anywhere from 500,000 plays to millions. So it's not a stretch to say that he could potentially earn $15,000 to $20,000 per ad read with just one ad read per episode, and a total of 192 episodes per year. That would add up to an additional $3.8 million per year. In over 4 years, that's another $15.3 million. And we all know the Daily Wire would request far more than one ad read per episode. Just look at any content their creators produce.
This is why you should do what I do and use ExpressVPN. Pure Talk is the antidote to woke wireless companies. Rex MD is FDA approved to help men feel more confident in the bedroom.
But ad reads aren't the end to Steven's earning potential for the Daily Wire. They have merchandise sales, Daily Wire promotions, documentaries, and alternative brands and channels that could have all been made around Steven's image. These all add to Steven's earning potential that the Daily Wire would definitely juice. So even without these additional sources of income, the Daily Wire would still be in the green on their contract with Steven. So while $50 million may seem like a lot of money, and it definitely is, it's not even close to what Steven Crowder is truly worth at the end of the day. People keep saying that he isn't Joe Rogan and that he isn't worth NBA money. Well, you're right. He doesn't get to keep all of this money. He would have to bear the cost of production as per the term sheet proposal. It's not just going into his pocket like some would love for you to assume.
For $50 million over 4 years, 4 weeks off a year, and Crowder never working Fridays, not a bad deal. And I would agree with that.
Unrelatable. People are trying to pay for bacon and eggs right now at the grocery store, trying to buy a steak once a week.
So we sent him over a non-binding term sheet for $50 million over the course of 4 years with an additional 2-year option. That is, as it sounds like, a lot of money.
Steven Crowder feels that the $50 million over 4 years contract that the Daily Wire offered him was the equivalent of a slave contract.
And then he's like, only $50 million over 4 years when I barely have to work. It's like slavery.
It's amazing. It really is.
And his show's an hour long and then half an hour behind the paywall. That's like half the size of our show, right? Like the guy just barely does anything.
The Daily Wire's decision to publicly expose that it was their offer to Steven Crowder is a curious one, because Steven didn't exactly name names, and exposing yourself, I don't see what good can come from it. And when Steven responded to their outing, essentially all Daily Wire employees took a personal attack approach.
And it is crying. I don't like it. It was a total bitch move.
But why? Was it all because he recorded his friend, Jeremy?
Why the hell did you record him? What were you doing that for? Did you think you were gonna go to court?
Fair point.
I was willing to stay silent on all of this, generally speaking, and not get into the weeds and not get into Steven's personal conduct until the point when he personally recorded a phone call with my best friend, Jeremy Boring, and then proceeded to release that publicly. That is disgusting.
Well, I would hope they would take the same approach if their employee did the same thing, right? Well, didn't Candace Owens record a conversation with a friend for the purpose of making a point on her show?
Did you tape our private phone call? We can move on to the next topic. We don't have permission to air it.
Allegedly, Candace Owens had been taping all of our phone conversations that we had privately. As friends. Forever.
Now, I don't know much about Nicole Arbor, but this isn't a good look when 90% of the Daily Wire's critique of Steven in this situation is that he recorded his friend's conversation. And what about the vague threats Candace Owens was making against Steven?
Because I now am more aware of certain information, rather than being angry, I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. I am certain that in the near future, more information will come out. I do not think it is my place to say more than that. Well, probably what I should say is I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that. You know, maybe if I feel in further defense, something should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
It's almost as if she's saying, Steven, you better watch what you say or I'll release something you don't want the public to know. And regarding the claim that Not Gay Jared is under NDA to not expose the bad contract that Steven put him under.
Pretty sure, wasn't it Steven Crowder who also screwed over somebody he used to work with? Was it Not Gay Jared because he had him tied up in a contract? Wasn't that Steven Crowder who did that? So is he supposed to be the moral high bar? Are we not supposed to call him out for that? Here's the thing. Steven, why don't you release Not Gay Jared from his NDA and allow him to talk about how he felt he was treated by you? Because I know that at The Blaze, everyone says that you're actually not that nice. You treat people poorly, but you bring in so much revenue that everybody just has to take it.
Well, it's worth noting that Steven Crowder confirmed on Timcast that Not Gay Jared is indeed under NDA. However, it's unclear what the NDA covers. Jared's only response to the situation so far is a tweet on Twitter that you can see here. I can see how this tweet can be used to say that it confirms Steven exploited him, but I can also see how this can be used to say that he left the show on his own. So I'll reserve my judgment till I hear more information about it. But one thing is certain. The Daily Wire's term sheet, which sought control over virtually every social media platform Steven had, doesn't help the image of every Daily Wire employee having virtually the same exact opinion on social media, raising even more questions because Jordan Peterson agreed with Steven about the big con till he found out about the company that Steven was talking about, which he then quickly deleted the tweet. And it's worth noting that while most conservatives seem divided on the situation, every Daily Wire employee seems to have the same opinion. So, in conclusion, the Daily Wire's offer to Steven Crowder is not only a lowball offer, but it's also a golden handcuff offer designed to take all the potential upside from Steven while sticking him with all the risk and the burden of production costs. And the Daily Wire's actions and reactions to this situation raise even more questions than answers. But as always, this is just my opinion based on the facts I've seen. And again, I might be completely wrong, but thank you for watching. And if you're looking to watch something else, check out this video here on the lies of Hassan Piker.